A man who reveals his desire too quickly is a man who has already disarmed himself. He believes he is being honest, but in truth, he has surrendered his position. The moment he shows what he wants, he hands the keys of power to someone else. To a true strategist, he no longer appears threatening. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. The clearer your ambition, the easier you are to control. People are not drawn to attack mystery. They are drawn to attack hunger. Once they see the appetite burning in you, they know precisely how to tempt you, stall you, distract you, or destroy you. Desire that is exposed becomes a blade turned against you. Desire that is concealed becomes the weapon in your hand. This is the essence of cold ambition. Not the death of longing, but the mastery of silence, of indifference, of darkness. In a world where everyone is loudly chasing something, the man who seems to chase nothing, yet quietly builds everything, is the one no one notices until it is too late. That is the man who wins. A predictable man is a controllable man. Tell someone you want power, and they will compete with you or block your path. Tell someone you want a woman, and she will test you, withhold from you, or manipulate you. Tell someone you want status, and they will dangle it in front of you like a bone before a starving dog. This is not paranoia. This is law. Desire creates exposure. Exposure invites attack. Look around. The men who are used, discarded, manipulated, mocked, or pushed aside are almost always the ones who revealed themselves too soon. They confessed, "I really like you. This job means everything to me. All I want is just a little respect." They thought they were being authentic, but in truth, they were leaking strategy. And once that leak appeared, others saw exactly where to push, exactly how to pull. That is how weakness is born. The fool exposes his desire and calls it honesty. The strategist hides his desire and calls it power. You have been taught that if you want something badly enough, the universe will conspire to give it to you. You have been told that revealing your hunger makes you brave, authentic, even inspiring. But Machiavelli would call this suicide, because the world does not reward those who want. It rewards those who appear to need nothing. The man who needs nothing cannot be bought, cannot be begged, cannot be threatened. He never loses his power to negotiate. Consider the difference between the man who enters a room hungry for approval and the man who enters as if he already possesses something invisible that no one else can touch. Which one is followed? Which one is envied, hated, copied, whispered about? It is always the man who wants nothing yet seems to hold everything, because his silence becomes a mirror. Others project their insecurities onto him, and his calm ambition makes him feel dangerous. Every time you tell the world what matters to you, you hand them the script for your downfall. Reveal that you long for love, and they will test that need. Reveal that you want power, and they will slow your ascent. Reveal that you burn for revenge, and they will bait you into emotional traps. Reveal that you crave attention, and they will feed you just enough to keep you addicted, then rip it away when they choose. This is why cold ambition is lethal. You do not kill your desires, you simply never show them. You move with quiet certainty, you act with precise calm, and you build behind black walls where no one can see. Let them hear faint sounds and wonder what is being constructed. The more questions they ask about you, the more control you gain. The moment you answer with emotion, explanation, or confession, you collapse. You become a map, and people love to destroy maps. Most men live inside cages they built with their own mouths. They tell their friends about their goals, and now they are trapped in expectations. They tell their boss they will do anything for the job, and now they are exploited. They tell a woman she is all they think about, and now she is bored. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is not necessary for a prince to truly possess all the good qualities, but it is necessary to appear as if he does." The same principle applies here. A man does not need to be free of desire. He only needs to appear indifferent to it, because when he looks indifferent, every move he makes becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability is the ultimate weapon. When people cannot read you, they hesitate. They overthink. They project. They worry. They assume. And in their chaos, you move untouched, unbothered, hidden in your rhythm. This is the silent power of cold ambition. The man who constantly speaks of his plans, his dreams, his struggles, and his feelings thinks he is creating connection. He is not. He is exposing himself to those who may not even respect him. Worse, he becomes addicted to their validation. This is the emotional slavery Machiavelli warned against. The alternative is restraint. Speak less, plan more. Smile when they ask questions but never answer completely. Let your actions appear casual, never desperate. If you speak of desire, speak of it as if you have already walked away from it. In that moment, they no longer see a man chasing. They see a man who could have anything but chooses carefully. And nothing is more alluring, more intimidating, more psychologically invasive than the man who does not chase. You do not need to erase your desires. You need discipline in how you reveal them. Even Machiavelli wrote with ambition, but he hid it beneath layers, inside riddles, inside principles instead of raw confession. He knew how to encode desire into strategy, never into weakness. You must do the same. Your desires should exist like fire behind glass, visible to you, invisible to them, burning, focused, dangerous, but never uncontrolled. Because the man who feels more than he reveals will always dominate the man who reveals more than he feels. That is the Machiavellian paradox. You can have anything, but only if you look like you need nothing. The moment they see that you want it, you have already lost it. Desire itself is not weakness, but revealed desire is. Because the world is not neutral. It does not say, "He wants this, let us help him achieve it." It says, "He wants this, let us see what he will surrender for it." In that moment, you stop being a player. You become a pawn. You become movable. This is what Machiavelli meant when he warned rulers never to put themselves in the hands of others. Once someone knows what you want, they do not need to defeat you directly. They only need to keep you chasing. Let that sink in. Most men are not crushed by enemies. They are controlled by invisible strings. Desires exposed too early, too loudly, too emotionally. The instant you announce your hunger for power, sex, revenge, or validation, you give the world a lever. And what happens when the wrong hands grip that lever? They start to pull. A woman teases, withholds, plays games because she knows you are already hooked. A boss delays your promotion because he knows you are afraid to walk away. A false friend keeps you close because he knows you crave belonging. In each case, you gave them the control, not because you asked for it, but because you displayed your hunger. The Machiavellian strategy of cold ambition flips this completely. Instead of chasing, you become the one chased. Instead of revealing, you suggest. Instead of explaining, you distort. People see the motion, but not the motive. They feel the force, but not the direction. And that disorientation shields you from manipulation. Society tells you to be honest, to speak your truth, to be vulnerable. But Machiavelli would ask, to whom? And for what purpose? Here is the brutal truth. Most men who speak their truth are only broadcasting their weakness. They believe it makes them authentic. In Machiavellian terms, it makes them readable. The moment you say, "I just want respect. I really want to find love. All I want is success," you think you are being transparent. What you are really doing is handing out the instructions on how to control you. Cold ambition says, never hand them the blueprint to your inner world. Let them guess. Let them assume. Let them make mistakes. Because when no one knows what you want, no one knows how to stop you. And even better, no one knows how to use you. One of the most brutal truths of human nature is exactly this. People admire the man who rises without ever looking desperate for it. Exposed desire looks like thirst. Hidden desire looks like destiny. This is where Machiavelli's advantage shines. He did not say, "I worked so hard to succeed. I am trying to succeed." He did not beg, "Please notice what I have built." He let results speak in silence. He let rumors brag for him. He let others wonder, how is he doing this without ever appearing to try? That question stirs something far more powerful than admiration. It awakens envy. Envy is not directed at the man sweating in public. It is directed at the man moving with no visible effort. When you make power look natural, you create a gravitational pull. People orbit you. They adjust to you. They obsess over how you are winning when they never saw you begin. Nothing is more dangerous than a man with a goal who seems not to need it. That is cold ambition. That is the man who loses something valuable and does not blink, who faces rejection and does not break rhythm, who misses one opportunity and replaces it effortlessly while others spiral, complain, and over-explain. He recalibrates. That calm silence terrifies people because it means you cannot be moved by outcomes. It means you are operating from strategy, not emotion. That is the moment people stop treating you like someone with ambition and start treating you like someone with a plan. Machiavelli understood this truth. The cold men rise higher, not because they feel less, but because they show less. When you reveal too much, you enslave yourself to feedback. You admit you want something and they laugh. And suddenly you doubt yourself. You share your vision, and they question it. And now you defend it. You open up about your ambition and they sabotage it slowly, with mockery disguised as jokes. You think you are being brave, but you are really auctioning your ambition to the crowd, letting them bid on it, twist it, and reshape it. The Machiavellian never makes that mistake. He keeps his vision buried in silence. He acts, he executes, he builds, and by the time anyone realizes what he was moving toward, it is already complete. No friction, no resistance, no exposure. That is the real power move. To build in silence in a world addicted to attention. When you reveal nothing, people are forced to assume everything. And that becomes your advantage. Let them think you do not care. Let them think you are drifting. Let them think you are not trying. Let them think you are indifferent. And while they drown in assumptions, you make your move. You let their misunderstanding become your shield. You let their ego lead them off course. You let their underestimation cloak you in invisibility. This is chess. They are playing on your board, and they do not even realize you are 10 moves ahead. Exposed desire becomes a performance. Suppressed desire becomes strategy. Machiavelli understood the value of detachment not because he lacked emotion, but because he refused to be led by it. The modern world wants you loud, impulsive, and transparent, so your movements can be tracked, your ambitions packaged, and your dreams sold back to you. Cold ambition breaks that system apart, because when they cannot see your desire, they cannot copy it. They cannot block it. They cannot kill it. They can only fear what you are quietly becoming. And that fear is the sound of control shifting. Not to the loudest man in the room, but to the silent man who stopped talking and started building in the dark. When a man speaks of desire, the world does not listen with admiration. It listens with calculation. They do not think how noble. They think how useful. The instant desire leaves your lips, it ceases to be yours. It becomes a target. It becomes a lever. And in that instant, you are no longer the architect of your ambition. You are the hostage of it. Machiavelli grasped this with surgical clarity. He warned rulers never to reveal their true intentions. Not because it was dishonest, but because it was dangerous. People are not afraid of your ambition. They are afraid of what they cannot decipher about it. When your motive is hidden, your movement inspires fear. When your motive is revealed, your movement becomes monitored. Once monitored, it becomes opposed. And once opposed, your ascent is no longer clean. It becomes contested. The man who loudly declares what he wants turns himself into the center of every scheme. He says, "I need this job. I just want respect. She is the one I want." And instantly, he is vulnerable. The employer knows he will endure low pay. His peers know withholding respect will crush him. The woman knows he will chase. And chasing is the death of masculine mystery. He becomes visible. And visibility without leverage invites attack. Machiavelli knew hunger belongs to private moments. You may want deeply, but you must never broadcast starvation. You must move as if your plate is already full, especially when you are hunting, because in the game of power, the man who looks like he needs nothing is the man to whom everything is offered. Modern society is built to reward emotional exposure, but emotional exposure is a luxury for those who are not playing for power. Most men speak endlessly of their dreams, frustrations, plans, and passions. They believe speaking strengthens them, but in reality, it dilutes them. Each time you voice your desire, you hand others the language to sabotage it. You open yourself to mockery disguised as encouragement. You invite resistance from those who feel left behind. That is why the strategy of cold ambition is built on this principle. Do not declare. Execute. The cold man does not update anyone. He does not broadcast every win. He does not explain why he is distant, busy, or focused. He does not ask for understanding. He simply moves quietly, aggressively, methodically. And when results arrive, they speak louder than he ever could while the rest are still talking. Mystery is feared not because it hides something dark, but because it forces others to imagine something powerful. When you announce what you want, people categorize you. They say, "He wants that. He is like everyone else." But when you say nothing, they guess. They assume. They obsess. They wonder, is he leaving this job? Is he secretly building something bigger? Is he moving toward someone no one else sees? And in their guessing, they hand you power because their minds become your stage. Their overthinking becomes your camouflage. You do not need to manipulate them directly. You only need to remain unreadable. That alone disarms the ordinary man, because what people cannot define, they cannot dismiss. In every environment, there is a reward structure. At work, you are rewarded for enthusiasm. In dating, you are rewarded for showing interest. In friendship, you are rewarded for availability. But Machiavelli would remind you that the man who breaks the structure rules it. When you remain neutral while others beg. When you speak less while others overshare. When you walk away while others grovel. You alter the game. Instead of chasing the reward, you become the reward. This is when desire flips. They ask themselves, why is he not trying harder? Why is he not chasing? Why does he not need us? And in that reversal, they begin to want you. Once they want you, they justify your power. They obey it. They need it. Because your indifference makes you scarce. You must become surgical with your words. Not to sound mysterious, but to preserve dominance. Before you say, I want that promotion. I like you. I am working on something big. You must stop and ask, will this increase my leverage or reduce it? Because the moment you reveal that you are waiting, hoping, craving, you are already operating from beneath. You are exposed. You are playing their game. But if you stop, remain cold, and let actions speak, you do not merely hold control. You amplify it. What is unsaid is harder to fight. What is unrevealed is harder to sabotage. And what is kept hidden becomes obsession. Look at the most powerful men in any room. They do not explain why they are busy. They do not justify their absence. They do not argue their decisions. They do not overshare their motives. They move with the assumption that they owe the world nothing. That is power. Because the moment you stop explaining, people start interpreting. They try to fill the silence. They create stories about you. And in every story, you hold control. They may love you, they may hate you, but they cannot dismiss you. Mystery keeps you alive in their minds. This is not about being a stone. It is about being a fortress. You may want deeply. You may burn with ambition. You may ache with evolution. But all of it must remain inside. The man who contains his desire controls it, and the man who controls it becomes unstoppable. Let your actions whisper. Let your presence suggest. Let your silence provoke. In a world screaming for attention, the cold, quiet, focused man becomes a legend. And as Machiavelli would tell you, a legend cannot be used, cannot be trapped, cannot be conquered. A legend is only feared, followed, and whispered about by those who still cannot see what he is after. Desire makes you human. Exposed desire makes you vulnerable. Because once the world knows what you want, it knows how to control you. Power, as Machiavelli made painfully clear, does not belong to those who chase it. It belongs to those who move as if they already own it. You can still want the job, the woman, the money, the revenge. But the moment you show it, the game shifts. You are no longer shaping events. You are waiting for them. That is the essence of cold ambition. To want silently, to build without words, to rise without announcement, to let the world feel your heat without ever seeing your fire. If they know what you love, they know what you fear losing. And if they know what you fear losing, they hold your chain. You tell her, "I cannot live without you." Now she knows she can wound you by leaving. You tell your boss, "I will do anything for this promotion." Now he knows he can overload you and keep you compliant. You tell the world, "This dream means everything to me." Now they know exactly what to mock, delay, sabotage, or exploit. Even those with good intentions, friends and family, will do this without realizing. Not because they hate you, but because exposed ambition sparks comparison in their minds, and comparison breeds resistance. They begin to pull you back not because you are wrong, but because you revealed too much. This is why Machiavelli urged leaders to keep their intentions hidden not only from enemies but from everyone. Because betrayal does not come only from malice. It comes from weakness, and the weakness of others will always press against the vulnerability you reveal. To survive that, to rise above it, you must let your desires live like fire behind stone walls, burning but unseen, felt but never touched. That is cold ambition. And that is how the man who reveals less rules more.